it's Guido coming at you with a tank review of the Staghound. Sniper medium tank. Well, if schizophrenia was a tank line, it would be the British mediums. Which, I have to be honest, from the tier 5 and now the 6, I can find almost no use for. The problem with the Staghound is that the Cromwell exists. Not only does the Cromwell B exist, but a tech tree version of the Cromwell exists, and it is, in fact, better, I believe, in every single way. We'll take a look at it in a comparison. It took me 17 battles to finish it. This is a new crew. That is not the crew I used. The crew I used had 3 skills working on their 4th. I threw a new crew in here and threw some books at them because I'll take this tank to 100 battles. 59% win rate with 17 battles. Let's take a look at that real quick down here. Pretty quick to get through and upgrade to the tier 7. Couple reasons for that. Number one, I bought all the modules with free experience, so I didn't have to unlock modules. That helped. So I had a full top tier, top configuration tank for the whole time. And I had some ×5s going on, plus I used personal reserve. So you can blaze through this. If you're at a point in your World of Tanks career that you have a lot of resources and things already unlocked, plus you might even be looking at blueprints, hanging out for it. Now that they're released, those things will show up, blah, blah, blah. It will go fast, right? If you're newer, then it's the same grind as everything else. Maybe worse, because it's not a very good tank. 58% win rate, 29% battles survived. That's interesting. Small sample size, super small sample size. I don't think I'll actually keep that at 59, to be honest with you. When I get to 100, if I'm 55 in this thing, I'll be pretty excited based on how good it is. Hits, 70.79, pretty low. 1.52 damage, 1.92 destruction, and no armor. One of the defining characteristics of this medium tank line is some of the worst per capita armor across the entire line in the entire game, to include some of the EBRs. In fact, I believe the EBRs might be more heavily armored. I'll have to take a look at it at higher tiers, but they certainly seem so. These tanks do not have magic bounces like the EBRs seem to have, and they do not seem to have magic wheels either, for some reason. And that is probably just a perception issue on my part. Average damage at 1,008 and assist. Now, I will tell you that my assist with this is considerably higher than my other tier 6 mediums. Do you know why? It's not because it's a great light tank, and we'll get into that a little while later, or a great scout tank. It's because I had to play this thing extremely carefully, or else be deleted from the game very quickly. So that's how I did in it. As far as the setup goes, well, let's backtrack just a second. Interesting tank in terms of history. This is a tank, this configuration. About 300 models of this particular one were made. The original Staghound was built by the United States. The British were the only ones who deployed them, and they had 2,000 or 3,000 of these things over its lifetime. It did enter World War II at the end in 1945, and then it had some service post-war in various places. This particular setup right here is obviously a different upgraded turret, which is what wargaming typically does. When you upgrade the thing, you're probably at either some late development stage of the tank or slight fantasy or planned that never happened kind of idea. But we've got I want to say it's a, what is the gun in this thing? I can't remember, 6-pounder, I believe, or maybe a 75mm, which is close to the same thing as I recall. Yeah, 75mm. There is a 6-pounder version, which is not as good. So unlocking stuff, you only got 1 engine and 1 wheel set, but you do have 2, I don't know, 2 radios. You're about at the point here at tier 6 that you don't have to really unlock radios anymore. I just happen to be a completionist, plus you want to get it to elite so you can train field mods, blah blah blah. But yeah, it's got a, I don't know why, I don't know. You do have to unlock a turret, and then you get the main gun, and you can move on to the FSV Schedule A from there. The crew, as I noted in the first review of the Tier 5, is the same 3-man crew all the way through the entire line. The commander has the commander position, the radio operator, and is a loader for some reason. Thanks, Wargaming. And the gunner is a loader and gunner, and the driver's a driver. So your commander is pretty pressured in terms of the skills he can get. Okay, loader's probably not the biggest pain in the butt to have on there, but if you're doing things like intuition, you want both guys to have it to 100% to get the full effect. Is that important at tier 6 with the reload times? No. Could it be later? Absolutely yes, when you start talking about that 8, 9, and 10 where the reloads get longer. Looking into the future and such. So the crew, like I said, was 4 skills or 3 skills, working on their 4th or 5th. My loadout in terms of equipment is turbo. In the turbo slot, I've got optics and I've got vents. If you remember from my tier 5 review, the vision was not great. With this setup though, the good news here, and I'm running food by the way, and I have brothers in arms, this gets the view range to 436. Now this is not actually maxed when I had the other crew in where you've got situational awareness and whatever the commander's skill is that increases their view range. I got it over the 445. So if you try hard, you can get that thing, and that's pretty good at tier 6. Not bad at all to get it to max view range, and then about another 10 or 20 meters. I don't remember how much exactly it was. It can't use the CVS because it's not a tier 8. Generally doesn't see too many tier 8s where the CVS is a problem for it. And now we get into the whole schizophrenia thing of this tank. This is a light tank, guys. It's an up, I would say up tiered, but it's not really tiered. It's a light tank that they decided to make a medium. It's plainly not a medium tank. The bummer with that is, it wouldn't be so bad if it didn't lose, you know, from moving from light tank to medium tank. It loses that moving camo thing that light tanks have in this game. And while its camo isn't fantastic, that would be at least something for it, because it is not a good medium tank. It just isn't. We'll take a look at some gameplay here in a minute. What does this all do for me in terms of stats, the way I've got it set up? Like I said, these will be slightly worse than the way I had mine set up because my crew was a little bit better. But we're looking at a 125 alpha. Oof, that's low. 138 average pen. 3.42 gun loading. Gives us a DPM of 2194. Again, we'll do a comparison in a minute against some other actual mediums. It's got 800 hit points. It's slightly low in hit points. Look at that armor, 22 and 51, basically non-existent. It's not quite as bad as the tier 5 though, so I'll give it that. Mobility shows 65. That's nice. I've got that extra with the turbo, and it's in the turbo slot right there, bonus slot. The problem with it is that the specific power, it does take a while for it to get up to speed. That's not a bad specific power, but it does take a while. And this line, because its hull traverse is so bad, it will shave off speed by turning, and it becomes miserable when you start to do a sustained turn at full speed. It absolutely becomes miserable. Stationary tank at 17, moving at 13. You can improve that quite a bit, actually. If you're talking about a crew that's running its camo, that has a full camo setup and that kind of stuff, you can actually get decent, especially for stationary vehicle, decent camo. Problem is light tanks exist, and so it becomes one of those things. Am I just kind of a crummy light tank without the camo on the move? Well, maybe. Sometimes maybe. Let's take a look at the comparison, though. I've got the Staghound, the Cromwell, because as I opened with, the problem with the Staghound is the Cromwell exists. The EZ8, the 3045, and the Sturv 74. These are all tech tree tanks, so we'll just talk about those. I put the Sturv up there because it's kind of a lighter type of medium. Maybe comparable to a Staghound gameplay, but at the same time, I don't know what the Staghound's gameplay was intended to be. It's hard to figure out. So this is what's great. The average damage is 125, the Cromwell 135. Let's just concentrate on these two bubbas for a minute. 138 pen, 145. Oh, by the way, the Cromwell's gold pen is better. This one's 190, the Cromwell's 205 or something. Okay. Rate of fire is slightly faster. Great. Gun loading is 0.02 seconds faster. The same gun traverse speed. Oh, loses a degree of depression. By the way, that -7 is painful. That's where it starts to get painful. And when you're talking a medium in this game, so the best thing you can do with this guy is get to a forward position with a little bit of hard cover and use hold down stuff. You don't want to trade because the turret can't handle it, but you do want to minimize. Well, now you're working with -7, and that just deletes a bunch of positions that you can use. So that's painful. Aiming time's a little better. Dispersion's worse. DPM is worse because we've got less alpha in a comparable reload. Oh my gosh. Hull armor, atrocious compared. I mean, look, this thing is like a mouse compared to the Staghound. It's much lighter. Specific power is slightly better. The Cromwell does 64. So this thing is slower. The fast wheeled tank is slower. Very similar traverse. Actually, the Cromwell's got a better hull traverse, which means it turns better, even with tracks. Concealment, for some crazy reason, is exactly the same, and we got 360 view range on both. My goodness gracious. If you look at the EZ8 34, 85, and Sturv 37, it's got a little bit better pen than some, worse than others. If we come down here to DPM, we'll see that, you know what, it's not bad. It's better than the Sturv and the 3045, but worse than the EZ8 by a little bit. The dispersion's pretty comparable, although that Sturv's really known for that nice little accurate gun with a fast zoom in, so that's not bad. So it doesn't really have anything over any of those here. If we come down to the armor, well, I mean, it's just not even a contest. Yeah, the Sturv is pretty light in terms of all this stuff, but the 3045's got a pretty decent turret for a tier 6 medium. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it's decent. The EZ8, I mean, when you start considering the EZ8's armor is looking pretty good to your tier 6 medium, wow. That's kind of bad. Mobility wise, top speed, it does beat these guys. The 45 on the Sturv, only 48 on the EZ8. Yeah, you're doing 60, so it's got some advantage there. The concealment's fairly similar, and they've all got, other than the EZ8, they've all got the same vision or same view range of 360. I don't know. What is it, man? Let's go look at some gameplay. All right, so I had this game, and it turned out to be a decent result, but I titled this one, Is This My Purpose? Is this my purpose? Bottom tier with tier 8s. So that's about as bad as it gets for a tier 6, right? Your bottom tier. Couple artilleries, not great. The good news here is if you notice, there are no light tanks, and we're on proc. So I saw this. I knew I had, and this was with the better crew, so you can see that I've got the max view range slightly over by about 10 or 15 meters. No other light tanks. Now, if you've got a tier 8 light tank, just forget what I'm trying to do, right? But in this situation, I'm like, okay, I have found a niche possibility for myself here. And that's why I said it, you know, is this my purpose, to find niche possibilities with a tank that otherwise can do virtually nothing? Now, I didn't look at the results. I'll try to remember when we come back. The tank is not doing bad. And that does lend a lot of credence to the argument that when things initially come out, you get a lot of early adopters, generally more experienced or better players, or a combination of the two, and the stats are a little bit higher than they otherwise would be. Now, I get super aggressive here, right? I know there's not another light tank. I am pretty sure I know there's not a light tank. I wish I was a light tank. Then it would be another light tank, but I'm not. I know there's not a light tank, and as I look over here, there's nothing extremely fast either. 3002 is no slouch, but it's not super fast. T20 is okay. So I don't expect anyone to try to get up into these bushes here. Like, this is a suicide run if there's a light tank trying to get to these bushes. I'll get lit, maybe even lit before I see him, and he bails out, and I die to all the guys moving along the 1-2 line. But I'm fast enough. Look how far out I am ahead of these guys. I'm fast enough that I think I can get right here. Slam on the brakes. Look at that slow rotation. All right, not a great idea right here, because if these dudes get lit, shots are going to start coming through here, and if you go sideways, you're increasing the side of your tank, the size of that they can hit. I wish I'd have spun all the way around, and I think I'd do that eventually. There we go. Ooh, I'm going to stop moving. See what I'm doing. Like, hey, take this guy. Hey, that works. Okay, great. Got that max view range. Realize that potentially on this particular map, I might be building an advantage over on the 1-2 line. I've got some snipers back there, and we crank it up to 213 assist. This guy concerned me. He just comes on in, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is he literally going to just drive up and get close enough before dying that he's going to light me? I'm about to make a runner right here. I'm thinking, oh, this is not good, and will I even be able to get away? Is there enough bushes here? Will somebody get it? I'm like, is he actually coming up and over that? Oh, great. All right, let's just pause this real quick. This is important. Just FYI, look down here. Look how close that triangle came to touching my proxy light circle. Now, he was going to have to come up and over and commit pretty hard. So I was hoping he was not that suicidal, but stranger things have happened. And he does not, thank goodness. I actually catch the T20 moving around again. So I'm hoping maybe somebody can hit him. Good news is, I hate to say it, for me in this game, we've got some arty. And as long as I'm not being hit by it, that's fantastic. Next customer is, no, I'm thinking, no, there's no way this guy is also going to YOLO forward. He gets lit. People are shooting. T20. The GF actually piles in with the T28 HTC, keeps him busy. And I'm just waiting. Now, this is the dangerous part where if people start trading shells back and forth, I can't take damage from my buddies because we don't have friendly fire anymore. But I can certainly get hit by one of these guys trying to shoot through here. And if they're any kind of smart, sometimes it's hard to tell at this particular tier with tier 6s involved, but they know where I am. They have to know there's somebody in this bush right here spotting them. Shot's just going into the IS. And I'm wondering, is he just going to come forward just thinking, you know, screw it. I know I'm dead, man. I'm just going to keep on trucking. I don't know if that was a shot at one of them. It looked like maybe he was shooting into the bush that I was in, to be honest. It did not look like that was going towards my guys camping back there. See, he's kind of... It looks like he's figuring that's for him. And then the stupid IS. I didn't notice him at first. I'm thinking, do I shoot this guy? Shoot, is that guy going to see me? Oh, there's an ISU. What? What's this guy doing? Oh, crap. How did I get lit? I didn't. The guy just shot in there. Either shooting into the bush, and then I get lit because I stopped like a fool. I'm like, ah. So probably the T-54 Mod 1. He's got better view range, more than likely, than the T-20 up there. Probably that guy saw me. I started moving, which broke camo. Am I a light tank or a medium tank? I'm a medium tank. So I break camo. I get worse camo because I'm shifting around. That sucks. But we ended up with 2,600 here. Taking a bit of a chance actually popping up right there. I'm glad there wasn't anything waiting for me. Now we got the Mod 1. He's trying to hide behind a wreck over here. Shot goes in the ground. A little bit of the palsy on my aiming. There we go. Get a shot into it. He's hiding behind a dead tank right there. I think it's the T-20, I guess. Looks like it. One thing about using the colorblind thing, I was really wishing to get that shot on the M44. It's better overall because things aren't so bright, but it's really hard for me to see the dead markers in the colorblind mode. They just really fade in with the other kind of blues and greens on the map. There we go. It's a romple, guys. Yeah, I had a fairly decent amount to do with the 1-2 line on spotting, but it's only 2,600. The other side completely rolled up their tanks. I mean, how many did we kill over here? 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, we had 5 over here. Looks like in the arty, so we did a decent share. There's 2 KV-5s, by the way, so the enemy team's real power were the KV-5s, and they went up the hill, which was an interesting decision. Unfortunately, I blocked the poor Pollack taking a shot, though I don't know if he really had one, because that guy was behind that little rise. So we'll swing around here. We got 2,700 assist. Alright, so my mom always told me if you can't say something nice, don't say something at all. Don't say nothing at all. Don't say anything at all. She's very, very proper with the... Let's kill him. There we go. If you can't nice say things, then don't not say nothing. Alright, guys? If I had to say something nice about the tank, what would I say? Straight line speed's pretty good, I guess. So, if you're trying to grab up some more hit points towards the end of the game, get into the fight, maybe get some assists, maybe get a little track on a guy, kind of like that. Maybe get more assist out of it. We got 27-17. Is someone going to damage him while I've done this? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. Nope, now he's moving again. Darn it. Trying to track him. Please get tracked somehow, fella. Nope. I don't think anything. I got nothing out of that. I fired all those shells, and I got no more assist and no more damage out of it, but we got the win. And good point from the Yag Panther. I was also not sure if we were going to win until we finally got rid of that last KV-5. I thought that was a great example. Yeah, that's one of the things you can do with it. provided you get the right setup. It's a spotting map. A good light tank player can probably work around the fact that he doesn't have a light tank, especially if there's no other light tanks in there. I sort of know how to run the map, and I got some things done with it. Not bad, 3,000 combined, but I asked the question again, is this my purpose? Got another example. All right, second example, this time on highway, and considering the same things at the beginning of this match, I said, all right, well, what am I going to do? A little bit more permissive, better setup for me. There's only 2 tier 7s to work against, and I've got some 5s to beat up on, and the rest of everybody out there is a 6. So not quite as dire in terms of things that can crush me. But again, this tank is not a medium that can go out and fight other mediums very well. In fact, Wargaming has designated it as a sniper medium. I guess. I mean, it's got decent pen, especially if you dab 2, but you're only plinking away with 135. I don't know, guys. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I got speed. Let's try to leverage the speed. Last game, I leveraged the speed, got into position. Let's try to get into an early position here as well. All right, fellas, what happens very often in this game when you take a aggressive early position? You go back to garage. So take it with a grain of salt. Salt. Take it with a grain of salt. This one ends up working out, though. I see him. We'll shoot him as he comes. Oof. Oh, he hit me. What? That's great. Now, here's one thing. Obviously, when the wheel is wonky, you do not stop. Great. Can't even pen a Panzer 4S. Fantastic. See the little countdown right there? It takes forever to fix the wheel, by the way. Well, you know, when you're rocking back and forth, the guys have a hard time getting the lugs off, so that's the problem. The crew's out there going, dude, quit moving it. Can't fix the wheel. Now I'm kind of stuck here. Don't really have the speed or the camo to get out. Plus, these guys are really close. The AEC's got the dude proxy lit. That's nice. He's going to poke out. We'll shoot him and back out. Fantastic. I don't know what this AEC's doing. He's going seriously hold down. This dude tries to make a move and kind of change. He's making a football move, as they say. Didn't work. I liked his moxie, and I liked the thought, but that just wasn't going to work. He was going to take too many hits crossing, and then that AEC, old Darko there, was going to probably take him out. There's one artillery we have to worry about. Old Leoniel guy right there probably needs to tuck up against the building a little bit better. I'm a little bit worried for him. No, he just pokes out and says, hey, can everyone shoot me? And they oblige. Yes, we can. We will just shoot you. And I'm like, nope, not going out there. Not going out there. Not with the reloads on some of those tanks. Kind of stuck, aren't I, guys? If we take a look at the situation, I am in the current situation of waiting for my team to maybe win in the city. He gives me a free shot, I'll take it. He kind of wants to, I don't know why this guy is doing this. And somehow he doesn't get shot, but it looks like the FSV is maybe trying to shoot the hold down guy. Good news is that this kind of overmatch we're dealing with here sort of porks away this fight. We do have 2 Stugs, so every time they poke, they get punished. We've got the AEC keeping them lit, so it's not going to be a surprise if they do show up, at least the 2 behind the building in the north there. So we're in a pretty good position on holding them. I don't know why he swallowed the fly. This guy comes out, we'll try to track him. There we go. He's paying attention. The other guy will shoot him. Down he goes. FSV is sort of looking the wrong way. Paying attention to the AC, but I'm not going to give him that shot, right? He really wants that shot, and he backs out. So perfect. You know, that's the benefit of the proxy light by the AEC there, guys. He doesn't have anyone proxy lighting me to know where I am, right? So he was hanging out there hoping I might poke. And he knows we have artillery. Their artillery died, by the way. Because we've got guys all over the cap, which is super helpful. He knows that we have artillery, so he might get hit by artillery. He probably knows that there's some TDs back there based on hits he's taken. So he doesn't want to sit there too long. So once he backs out of that, I still know where he is. Well, he hasn't seen me for a while, so now I can take position, and I can pre-aim in here. If and I wants to. Or at the very least, I can see his marker moving towards the corner. Well, this guy comes out, so once they shoot, I should have popped right there. I was a little late. There we go. Get a shot on that guy. We're still maybe in a little bit of danger of getting swarmed, and it looks like maybe they're thinking about it. So Loza came out. Loza's trying to get a piece of the action. This AEC is super aggressive over here. I'm very surprised he's not dead. He is keeping them busy. Of course, while he's doing the moving and poking, you know, they've got to be careful to not eat a shot from him. He's kind of challenging them to kill him, but at the same time, they've got to pay attention to him, which is useful for me. There's 3 of them. This guy makes a complete boneheaded move and comes around here, so we'll pop him. I do eat a shot. I sort of figured I would. See if we can take this guy down and eat another Panzer IV shot. Not good. I'm just going to let this play out. This guy backs out. I don't know why he does that. Very useful for me. He's dead. Nope, that's not. Oh, that was very close. Almost a fatal mistake. Although he was shooting AP and with his alpha, it wasn't going to kill me. Here comes the T-25-2. Now watch this whole event unfold right here. Okay, the Loza's looking at him. We're going to try to track him. The T-25 is just absolutely getting schwammered trying to get in there. I don't know what his plan was, to be honest. He just drives right up the middle in between all their shots, and he dies. It's just, it's just awesome. He lost every hit point. All right, just for the record, the way you approach that, I'm about to do it myself, is don't come up the middle. Let this guy shoot in the side. Go around this way. Look where the Semavente is. There's nobody over here. There's no one going to shoot you in the side. Just come around behind these guys. And that's where I finally get the idea to pull my head out of my arse. I'm like, wait a minute. Is he going to kill the Semavente? Oh, crap, he did. All right, how are we going to handle this? We got a Panzer IV anchoring. We got a one-shot. Got 2 one-shots. If this guy comes out, okay, good. We got a piece of him. That'll work. Panzer IV is trying to make a move. He kills the T-25-2 in just a moment here. I'm like, all right, this is not going as well as I would like. We need to shut these dudes down. So let's use some of the mobility of this thing. Look at, just come on, man, get going. Go faster. Here we go, up to speed, swing around. Based on where the Semavente was and the FSV is, I don't think any of those tanks are over in this general area. We'll come up in here, we'll find this guy, and we'll shut him down. There we go. Now we've got the Loza. Here's where I have to fight the -7 gun depression just a little bit to make sure I've got the shots on this guy. Oop, there it is. Gun comes up. Oh, okay, he's around the corner. He's just sitting there. He's wondering how it all went pear-shaped back here. Just aim in here and bounce. Good. Nice little bounce. There we go. And he finally dies. Finally dies. All right, 1,834. We do win this. 227 assist. Let's go wrap this up with this, whatever this thing is. All right, my friends, what's the bottom line? The question remains, what is this thing? Probably should have been a light tank, but it isn't. It's a medium tank. As noted earlier, one of its major problems is the Cromwell exists. In order to have truth in advertising, let's go ahead and call up the current stats for it. Again, these are early days, and typically you have your better players, as noted before, or more experienced playing it, but it's holding its own at the moment. It's top 20 in a pretty large group of tier 6 mediums. That actually puts it near the middle, to be honest. I think that's probably going to slip just a little bit. That's win rate. DPG wise, it is not bad at all. So the Cromwell is about the same area in there, and really 99 times out of 100 you probably want to be in a Cromwell other than this thing, right? You'd rather be in a Cromwell than be in this thing. Spit it out here in a minute. It does have one advantage that the track tanks don't have. It doesn't get tracked. It just gets slowed down. So if you're just about to crawl around the corner and get away, at least you're not pinned down. So that's, I will give it that one thing. It's got some pretty good speed in a straight line. That's it. That's it, guys. That's what it brings to the fight. Other than kind of looking cool and having wheels, it's weird for me. It's very schizophrenic. Very schizophrenic. Now the good news is, it's not overpowered. So far I haven't run into something in this line that's just ridiculously strong. I would say, and I said this about the AEC, I'll say it about the Staghound, I'm probably going to end up saying about most of these, because it's also the same complaint on the Tier 8 Premium, although I haven't played that yet. The whole traverse needs to be buffed pretty decently on these things. They don't need to turn up their own rear end like an EBR does, but they should be able to be a little bit more nimble and maneuverable than they are. I don't think that would do anything to make the things overpowered. With all the other things that are going against it, I don't really understand why it turns like the Titanic. Very strange decision for me. Maybe that's a historically accurate thing based on the way the wheels are. The wheels don't actually turn. It's, you know, slowing down or speeding up a wheel kind of idea, whatever they call it. It's the same, more or less the same thing for tracked vehicles, how they work. But there you go. The review of the Staghound Mark III. I probably came off like I hate it. I don't hate it. It's just there's nothing there. There's nothing there. All right. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. See you.